This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady News Source.
Athens restaurant inspections may have you reconsidering where to eat dinner. I'm Brett Homer.
And I'm Ariel Pinsky. If you eat out, you will want to see this report. It's about the health scores for Athens restaurants. Reporter Emily McLanahan takes a look at which restaurants scored high and which ones scored low. So, Emily, how did they do?
Well, Ariel, the good news is that none of the restaurants failed their inspection. These inspections are given by the Northeast Georgia Health District. When conducting these inspections, they look at a variety of things and then plan the scores accordingly. Athens cuisine is popular and full of variety, but it's what happens in the kitchen that health inspectors are concerned about. Ben & Jerry's is one restaurant that has maintained a solid score year to year, and manager Jessica LeMay says that health scores are dependent on whether or not violations were corrected from the previous year.
When the health inspector is in your store and they're doing the inspection, if they tell you to change something, do your best to change it right then, because that shows that number one, you're listening, and number two, you're willing to change.
Scores can either be high or low risk, and a few of the popular Athens restaurants fell in both of these ranges. Released this month, favorites such as Chipotle and Cookout received low-risk scores of 90 and 96, meaning they had no critical violations. But some restaurants did repeat offenses, which earned them a high-risk score. Subway, located on Gainesville Road, scored a 72 with a critical violation of proper cold holding temperatures. Cozy Yum Yum downtown repeated multiple minor violations, which led to their score of an 81. While any violation can be corrected on site, it is marked in every report if it was a repeated offense. All aspects of the business are under evaluation during a health inspection.
A lot of things are little things, making sure your hair is pulled back, hats, uniforms, gloves. Hand washing is probably the biggest thing.
So, scolding or advice, whatever it is that your mother told you about washing your hands, you just make sure that if you want to work in the local restaurant business, that you listen to your mama. Emily McClanahan, live from the newsroom.
In the future, restaurants in Athens hope to increase their health inspection scores by following stricter rules and being more careful with the requirements. One way restaurants are able to improve scores is by getting certified in online training programs. Jessica LeMay works at Ben & Jerry's and attributes their high score of 98 to the Serve Safe certification program. Serve Safe is a 9-hour course taught by a former health inspector. Ben & Jerry's managers and at least 5 employees are trained in this course in order to prepare them on how to serve and store cold foods. She advises other restaurants to pay close attention to the health inspector's notes.
All I can say is with health inspections, what they're really looking for is if you're doing something wrong, they want you to change. They just don't want to see the same thing year after year. So when the health inspector is in your store and they're doing the inspection, if they tell you to change something, do your best to change it right then, because that shows that number one, you're listening, and number two, you're willing to change.
Serve Safe courses and certification programs can be purchased by any restaurant and can be conducted online at servesafe.com. The recent health inspections are important to restaurant managers, but do customers also pay attention to restaurant health ratings? Athens resident Connor Jones says that he does pay attention to health scores before eating at new restaurants downtown. Jones says he thinks Athens restaurants can do better.
I feel like they should be higher if that's their job is running a business, and even getting a B, you feel like you should be getting an A at your establishments, and definitely not a C. Like, I can't get a C in school and expect my parents to want to support that.
Brant Aitken is a friend of Jones and says that the ratings are not as important to him.
For the sign, but if I saw it and it was failing, then I might leave.
Aitken admits he wishes that he paid closer attention to restaurant health ratings. Several UGA dining halls continue to enjoy high health ratings. The big student dining halls like Bolton and O House scored in the mid to high 90s on their latest inspections. None of the dining halls or cafes like the Take Cafe and Red Clay Cafe were cited for major violations. Former health inspector Mark Preston says that the inspections, which are conducted twice a year, are important because they let people know what they're about to be eating. He also says that the type of violation carries far more weight than the actual score given. He advises restaurants to call their local health departments and ask questions to make sure they are complying with current regulations.
Coming up next, we look at the possible double standard of the Georgia rape law.
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills? Check. Driver's license? Check. And a high school diploma. You got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that. You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Thanks for coming in for the interview.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, we got your personal references, your resume, high school diploma or equivalent.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Yes, it's right there.
Great.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
A local tree group wants to give Millage a makeover this winter. Reporter Brian Marseille has more on the goal to keep Athens beautiful.
I was at the Athens Tree Fair this weekend, where the Athens Tree Council revealed their plans to give Millage a new landscape makeover. The Athens Tree Council began Phase 3 of its tree replanting project this month. In Phase 3, The council reaches out to property owners. They've marked potential planting spots with flags, like those seen at the sorority house on Millage in Rutherford. Zeta House mom Becky Reynolds shared her thoughts on the project.
Personally, I think that's a great idea. Millage is one of the great streets in Athens.
Millage is also one of the busiest streets in Athens, so why start here? Council President Chase Cooks says the goal to replace old oaks with new dogwood trees comes from the street's history.
In the early 1900s, there was an effort underway, citizens in Athens at the time, along this avenue to plant double rows of trees on each side of Millage. It's not double rows of trees along Millage anymore. It's very patchy.
The council received $5,000 in grant money from the UPS and the Keep America Beautiful Corporation as part of a nationwide competition in July. The group plans to begin planting in January, and they've received positive feedback so far. For Athens locals like Becky, the new trees can bring Athens back to its roots.
It's important for me for all of Athens to do whatever they can to keep it looking naturally beautiful.
Brian Marseille, 570 News. Although most of you homeowners usually plant in the spring, the Tree Council says now is the best time to start planting so that your plants can take root and bloom by the time May comes around.
The Tree Council also plans to put trees in other patchy areas around Athens.
Keep going.
Yeah, where's the Athens Tree Council has put on 13 annual tree fairs where the community can talk to an experienced arborist. The arborist will inform the audience on what procedures to take when looking for a tree and the different type of species and exhibitors. The new arborist and Tree Council also sells wholesale trees to increase funding for local projects. The arborist will get their trees from the local nursery so the trees will have a better chance to thrive. You can look online to get more information from a local arborist on the benefits of owning a tree. Angel Creek Nursery is a local tree farm that provides a source for container growth trees and tree liners. The tree farm is responsible for containing a new species of tree.
What we look for when we're trying to make a selection is all the seeds that we sow, look for the ones that are either the most vigorous, have a different color, bloom, whatever. They may have a different growth characteristic. They may be dwarf. They may grow more quickly. Whatever we're looking for. We may sow seeds on purpose to look for a selection, or it may just naturally occur.
When we come back, there's a new story on service that is helping students and the environment. More on that story coming up.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny.
That's not a flower. We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
What am I not?
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
The Georgia rape law may bring controversy to male victims in sexual assault cases. Could the wording of this law cause confusion, making it impossible for victims of sexual assault?
This law can be very confusing. I had a chance to meet up with Emily Erdelin, women's study major, to get her opinion on the law. Georgia rape law states that a woman cannot be charged for rape, only a man. In the writing of the law, there is excessive overuse of pronouns such as he and she that may create a double standard in the law. Women's studies major Emily Erdelin feels this is unfair.
But I can also see how gender constructs could work against males as well, because of the idea that, you know, if you're hyper-masculine, you cannot physically be dominated by a female, which is obviously very untrue.
Emily believes no matter the gender, consent is key.
Talk to your loved ones, talk to the people you need to, seek counseling, do it. If you are a victim of rape, it does not matter what your gender identity is. If someone has raped you, or I should say survivor, not victim, then you should do whatever you feel is best. Consent.
Ali, Grady News Source. Although this law can be confusing, there will be progress done in the future to make it a little better.
The double standard of rape is quite confusing. Here at UGA, we're following up a confusing rape case that was reported at McWhorter Hall. We reached out to several officials in the case, including his lawyer, UGA Police Department, and the magistrate court. But since the case is still under investigation, there are no further releases of information. Yes, this is part of the bond. Yes, this is part of the bond. I reached out of Elizabeth Grant, criminal defense lawyer here in Athens, and UGA law professor Harlan Cohen. After briefing them on the case, their guess is that the ban will prevent further criminal activity and the passport will prevent any flight from the individual. Again, this is just a guess based on their previous knowledge of a related case. The magistrate judge is the only one who knows, but he was not willing to make any comment. The past 2 days, local UGA sorority Gamma Sigma Sigma held their annual yard sale at Tate Plaza. Everything from dresses, skirts, and outfits for date nights and socials were sold for $5 and under at this 2-day outdoor thrift store for women. This sale was meant to benefit Cottage, a local center for victims of sexual assault. We talked to Daniel Shepard of Gamma Sigma Sigma, who had this message for women.
You are strong and you can fight off people. We recently had a speaker come talk to our chapter about women's self-defense, and they offered a lot of classes. It was really, really fun. Well, I think we're going to take some. But also spreading the word, like letting young girls know that what they're up against, it shouldn't have to happen, and we know that it shouldn't be that way, but sometimes it is, and you need to be ready.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah, but I don't know where to start. That's why we're here. We're free, handsome.
I think we're breathtaking.
And here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this. Is that Bran?
Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Pick
Speaking of college, man, you and us go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together.
Go to getschool.com for more info.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, excuse me, sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If the door's locked, knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't stare, don't use bad language, or talk with your mouth full. Keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
Don't interrupt. Cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give your seat up to anybody who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you want to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
Good talk.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
There is a new service on campus that is providing free rides to students at night. It's called Gotcha Rides. Reporter Morgan Ansley said it's all about design to protect students. Morgan, why is it called Gotcha Rides?
Gotcha stands for Green Operated Transit, carrying humanity around, but they also have you covered when you need a late night ride home.
Okay, so this is Gotcha Rides.
Students can find these little electric golf carts anywhere around campus. Gotcha Rides are 100% electric and completely funded by advertising, making them free for students and faculty. Student driver Kiana is passionate about the safety it provides.
So I think it's really, really great because of the whole, walking at night by yourself, and when you get out of class or when you get out of studying for a test and you need a quick ride home, like people don't want to wait on the bus.
There are 3 electric cars that will be driving around campus at night, ready to assist students trying to get home. Although the app is under construction right now, Gotcha Rides is in full operation. Rides start at 7 p.m. and end at 2 a.m. For Kiana, she believes that around campus, the service prevents dangerous situations.
Well, I know when I have to do things at night, like study late at MLC or something, and I have to walk home or walk to a bus stop, it's really scary for me as a girl, being a student and all that stuff, and I don't want people like catch me off guard. So this is really helpful for people who need to get to where they need to go.
Through her training, she's been able to learn more about the battery-operated machine that will be powering around campus.
This is the battery. This big PlayStation-looking thing is the battery. And you charge it with this huge charger right here. This charger, it takes 8 hours to charge it from completely empty to full. But we're investing in getting more chargers where it'll only take us 45 minutes at top.
As the program expands, Kian Wright says they want to make charging quicker and more Gotcha cars on campus.
UGA is the 11th university to join Gotcha Rides initiative to spread nighttime safety. The Gotcha Ride cars won't have to worry about that batteries dying. UGA has ChargePoint chargers, electric vehicle charging stations located around campus for cars looking to charge up instead of gas up. These are the ChargePoint chargers. There are 6 stations available 24 hours that are located in the North Campus, South Campus, East Campus parking decks. The Office of Sustainability says the charging stations were in high demand from faculty, students, and staff.
Are a tangible activity that denotes UGA's commitment to sustainability. We are cultivating and developing a culture of sustainability here on campus in which students, faculty, and staff all take part. We're making it easier for people to own and utilize electric vehicles. They're giving them more convenient charging options, and one less fossil fuel driven car immediately starts benefiting the quality of air that we all get to enjoy.
The stations are able to charge 2 vehicles between 2 parking spaces, and users pay by the hour. The Office of Sustainability hopes the chargers will encourage more sustainable lifestyles on campus and at home. Last spring, the Student Government Association launched a pilot program similar to Gotcha Rides. They made the handy vans available on campus to everyone, but it was expensive, underused, and had limited pick and drop off points.
Right, the initial van service didn't receive much attention because it was rolled out right after spring break, so people were getting ready for finals, and a lot of people just heard about it but didn't know how to use it or didn't feel comfortable using the calling version of it. You have to call a dispatcher to dispatch the van to you. I mean, it also had limited access, so it will take you from MLC to Park Hall, which is probably 100 feet, and then it will take you to whole street deck. So it was very limited in the number of spaces it would take you on campus.
The program Gotcha Rides is funded through advertising, making it free for riders, and offers more drop-off locations around campus. When we come back, we will have a recap of tonight's story.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours.
Dr. King, what's your next move?
In March from Selma to Montgomery.
Selma is loud for every man, woman, and child.
We will not wait any longer.
In front of a crowd.
Mine eyes have seen the glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Okay, Simon, what do people wear?
Clothes.
That's right, so it's important to learn how to dress yourself. Here's how it's done. Shirt, underwear, pants, socks, shoes. Underwear, always first, name tag on the back. Then pants and shirt. Go ahead and put this on. Now with the shirt, you want to make sure the first button's right or you have to start all over again, okay? Socks left on left, right on right. Tying the shoes, we're gonna take the laces, we're gonna cross them over, we're gonna turn around where the bunny goes down in the hole, pull it tight, and bunny ears. Got it?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Hey, Gabby, how you doing? How's the play date and sleepover?
Dad, it was great.
Awesome. Okay, I'm on my way. Hey, guys, what are you doing?
We're going swimming. We're going biking. Yeah!
I'll see you in a little bit, guys. I love you.
Hi, babe. How was school today?
Hi, Dad. It was great.
Okay, honey. I'll be home soon. Remember, you're never too far away from your kids to be a dad. Reach out and take a second to check in, because sometimes the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
We now bring you a recap of tonight's stories, starting with the restaurant inspections in Athens.
Managers, employees, and locals had mixed reactions to the recent health inspection reports. Though some restaurants are satisfied with their scores, those restaurants that scored lower are hoping to improve their scores for the next inspection cycle.
Here at UGA, the right steps are being taken to avoid issues of sexual assault for both men and women. If anyone experienced or has been involved in instances of sexual assault, please reach out to UGA RSVP.
Good night.
Is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours.
Dr. King, what's your next move?
In March from Selma to Montgomery.
Selma is loud for every man, woman, and child.
We will not wait any longer.
In front of a crowd.
Mine eyes have seen the glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Okay, Simon, what do people wear?
Clothes.
That's right, so it's important to learn how to dress yourself. Here's how it's done. Shirt, underwear, pants, socks, shoes. Underwear, always first, name tag on the back. Then pants and shirt. Go ahead and put this on. Now with the shirt, you want to make sure the first button's right or you have to start all over again, okay? Socks left on left, right on right. Tying the shoes, we're gonna take the laces, we're gonna cross them over, we're gonna turn around where the bunny goes down in the hole, pull it tight, and bunny ears. Got it?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Hey, Gabby, how you doing? How's the play date and sleepover?
Dad, it was great.
Awesome. Okay, I'm on my way. Hey, guys, what are you doing?
We're going swimming. We're going biking. Yeah!
I'll see you in a little bit, guys. I love you.
Hi, babe. How was school today?
Hi, Dad. It was great.
Okay, honey. I'll be home soon. Remember, you're never too far away from your kids to be a dad. Reach out and take a second to check in, because sometimes the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Hello and welcome to Mock Show 570, the Tuesday show. I apparently just stole the opening line from.
That's fine. I have no personal stake in it. That's fine. You can become executive producer next year.
That's quite all right. So anyway.
Yeah, let's go through. We're going to walk through the newscast. Let me talk to y'all a little bit, okay? And then I want the director and the producer to talk. And then I think one of the senior production managers, Dylan, has some words of wisdom he wants to share with us. As we talked about, you had a good start last week, not so good today, okay? There are quite a few issues, and the issues, each one of you, quite frankly, needs to take a look at what the heck they did and what didn't do. And I'll be very blunt and say, yes, the B Block folks, you basically nearly took down the entire newscast by yourselves, okay? Unacceptable. And do remember, you know, I say, everything has to be approved by the executive producer, especially we're going to get into legal issue. This newscast will not be posted to the website. It's too dangerous legally. And that's about as bad a statement as you can possibly make, all right? I couldn't take a chance on that. The other part that bothers me is, I'm sorry, basic format issues. Anchor to a VO to a soundbite, those scripts are just screwed. The director was having a hard enough time because we were running behind time, but that didn't help him at all. You've got to get the format. If you've got a question about format, talk to one of your teammates. Make sure you do know how to write VOSOTs, how to write packages. Let me be clear, the reporter is responsible for writing the entire package. Anchor lead, intro of the reporter, what the reporter says, everything in the package, what the reporter says coming out, and what the anchor says, okay? Everything is that responsibility. All of that will be in a script folder. It will have your name and the slug attached to it. It cannot be the slug only because the script will all be pulled in. You can write the VOSOTs and the VOs in the rundown. You can start writing a rough copy in the scripts. When the producer gives you a slug, then you can transfer it across, all right? But that is basic. There's the anchor. Everything is with the anchor. Anchor there, then the voiceover, into the soundbite, and then come back to the anchor. We didn't do that on at least about 8 or 9 of these stories. And that just is basic format. We spent 6 weeks going over this, folks. You really need to be able to figure that part out. The only other one on that kind of mechanical issue, if the package is self-contained, you will SIG out and you will record it. If it isn't and you're live, no, you don't put your voice saying, hey, I'm Michael Castinger, 570. Doesn't make any sense because I'm coming back to you. What do you have, a inferiority complex? You have to hear your name twice? Come on. No, you just come back out and then that's when you SIG it. And you'll SIG it with your name and say live in the newsroom, okay? Those are just some mechanical issues. It's unfortunate because what we ended up with, we had some good potential stories in here. A lot of good potential stories, and some of them came pretty damn close. And quite frankly, the other part of it is, this was a better newscast in terms of those 30 minutes than it should have been. We actually got everything done. We got just about everything on air. We were tap dancing between the producer, senior producer, and the director and myself. We probably were running our heartbeats at about 3 times what should be the normal rate, but we did it. And if you look at it in retrospect, and I'll figure out some way so you can see it, it's all on a hard drive and you'll be able to see it. You guys want to look at it, go back and look at your first Tuesday newscast, look at this newscast, look at the differences, look at what you did right, but more importantly, what you need to work on. We're still struggling with all formats, and that just can't happen at this point, okay? Now, we do this whole 570 mock show different in the sense of what we've done from previous semesters, which means, yeah, I've treated it like a live show. Understand my last point? When I go ballistic on you, okay, and I want to kill you, yes, but once it's over, it's over. You know, when we were in the television business, we used to say, that's fine, it's over, it's done with, it's on its way to Pluto. I don't give a damn anymore, okay? It's all done. The only thing I am concerned about is next week when we do this, I expect you to have learned the lessons. I expect the mistakes you make now don't happen next week. And this is going to be a better newscast. But do understand, from a personal, professional, when I went ballistic in that newsroom, it was partially yes, because I treat this like a real honest-to-God newscast, okay? But the second part of it is how you're going to be treated. And you have to understand that in this so-called real world of news media, news journalism, okay? But once it's over, it's over. Now, let's go on and move on to it so we see a much better improvement after this. So with that cheerful, bloody introduction, Mr. Director, you're on, Jared.
All right. For the record, I'm Jared Sweat, for those of you that don't know me. Obviously, I was the director today, but okay, thank you, Connor. So as far as like Small Tree going down and us like we had to put all the packages and the VOSOTs and all the graphics and everything. We had to drop it onto a drive, and then we had to put it on playback, and then Dylan had to download each file individually and then drop it into playback, and we were having to roll it that way. So I mean, I didn't really have much control over that, and like as far as Small Tree going down, I mean, he didn't have control of that. Dylan didn't have any control of that. So I mean, we were.
Yeah,
it's ancient.
It's the server. It's not really that old. It's 7 years old, but it's having some problems. But the issue is, those were mechanical issues that, you know, I'll put a little more positive note. You know, that could have taken down the newscast easily. I have no idea. What?
I really thought y'all weren't going to air it.
Yeah, and that's where, quite frankly, you know, and I'm not the greatest tech guy in the world, but I'm sitting there going, all right, what the friggin' hell do I do? And, well, what I friggin' did was created the OneDrive, created something, put it in place, and I spent an hour recreating the whole damn thing so we could get you up and get it done and put it here and then transfer it to here and do that stuff. You know, me doing it, it's irrelevant, you know, in one sense. You know, that's part of my job and all that good stuff. But that's also indicative of how I treat it. As no, you know, the easiest thing for me to have done is to say, guess what, guys? Small Tree's dived. There's no way in hell we can do this. And we could have tried all kinds of crap, but I will always treat it that way. So we did, and we survived. And quite frankly, this should have been a worse newscast. And it wasn't better than last week, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse. And so a lot of the credit goes to a lot of the people who did make that happen.
Yeah, thanks to everyone that helped me out. I mean, I had a really good staff, but I mean, that goes without saying. As far as your guys' end, Grant, I mean, Small Tree went down and we had to upload it that way. But I mean, there was nothing you guys could have done about that. But still, I mean, I was coming in here and I was making lower thirds, which I should have put up. And like making graphics and stuff like that and getting ready like what I could, but I think it was like half of your videos weren't dropped, or they weren't ready, or they were still exporting. So I mean that's just about the only thing that I can say that y'all can actually help is, I mean, like, go ahead and yes, I understand this is the second newscast, but I mean, like, and that's something you'll get better at and you'll get faster and faster at editing, but like getting your videos in ahead of time, even if you get a chance to check them, like getting them in ahead of time will make your lives easier, it'll make my life easier, it'll make your senior producers' lives easier, it'll make everyone's lives easier. So whenever you get speeding up and stuff like that, as far as editing goes, like it'll help.
Who dropped the Premiere project?
Yeah, who dropped a Premiere project?
Do y'all know what that means? Do y'all know what you did wrong?
Here.
Yeah. Okay. Just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, walk through.
This is going to sound really dumb. I understand how you guys made this mistake, so I mean, whatever. Your Premiere project where you edit all of your video, if you drop that for us to like show on air, like nothing will. I can't air a Premiere project. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? So like when you go and export your video file itself, that is the video they need to drop. If you drop your Premiere project, like if you did that at NewsSource, like they would not air your story. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't do that. Does everyone know? So difference between Premiere Project and the video? Yeah.
No, why don't you go just a real quick, give me a 1 minute.
Yes, the Premiere Project is a file on your computer called whatever you name it, .prog, I think is what it is. And that is a file that you open, and then it does your little Premiere Project, and it links to all your video. You put it all together, and then you go up and you hit File. If you hit File Save, it would just save your Premiere Project as a .prog. That's not something that you can watch, or not something that we can air. If you go up and you hit File, Export a video as a .mp4, .mov, that is what we would air. So you export that to your like video_exports and then broadcast packages. When you export that there, put that in the drive, we can air that. But if you put your Premiere Project in a drive, it seems like we would be able to air that, but there's no, like, that's insane. Like, it just doesn't make sense technically. Does anybody have questions about that? It's okay if you do. Okay.
So, I mean, the big issue is saving versus exporting, and then what the format is.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
It's just like it's like a Word document. We're trying to make it like a PDF to where it like looks official. Like
And that's actually a good analogy.
It's not like that. It's not like that at all.
Well,
it's
it is in the sense of PDF. The point is you're changing format.
Yeah.
You can't save it as an Adobe Premiere. You have to export it, and you export it as an MP4, correct?
Yes, or an MOV. I guess that's okay. That's an okay simile.
I'm saying like, it's like your workspace.
Yeah, you're just changing it.
But
Yeah.
like, it's really not like a real thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I shot you down. That makes sense. Okay. Is everybody cool with that? Yeah. I had something else. Oh, I'm sorry. One other thing. When you're editing your packages, somebody had, I don't remember who it was, somebody had their VO mixed way high, and like, so it would be like,
Yeah, I think that
I'm talking now
was
in my
yours,
track,
yeah.
and now we're going to go to a SOT, and then their SOT would roll, and then you go back to VO, and you guys didn't pull down the audio on your VO, so it was like, and then also you going, and here's a like blah, 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 but nobody could hear you because you had edited your VO way too loud, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
watch back through your packages, and listen to that, and watch your audio levels, and make sure they all hit equally.
Yeah, the one thing you want to do is you want to do a playback before you drop. And I know that sometimes when you're pushing it, it's like, holy crap, I don't have time. But you do have the minute 30 time that can save that, and you can pick it up. And again, remember, Nat Sound is running at -12. Your actual primary audio, which will be your voice track as well as the sound bites, is at -18.
I have one more thing, and this, I mean, I think it was, Ariel, you were asking me about, sorry, not to like call you out or anything, but like you were asking me about like how you should export your VOSOT or your SOT VOSOT or whatever. For future reference for all of y'all, unless you will time your VOs perfectly whenever you're reading it or anything like that, unless you time them perfectly, export them all separately, because which it ended up working fine. Yeah,
Just don't do it again.
It worked
Everything
fine.
is going to be VO and SOT separate.
Just to avoid confusion while we're in the pre-show meeting or anything, because I mean that'll speed it up and we'll get on air faster. So whenever you are exporting VOs and SOTs, export them separately, because I know he had told my class, talking like, okay, if you have 10 seconds worth of VO, export like, or if you're going to be reading for 10 seconds, export like 20 seconds of VO, because the director can take that early. So it doesn't matter. I mean, 10 seconds of it won't show, and I mean, it's not like there will be 10 seconds worth of dead space, but we can roll that SOT early, so we can control that, whereas, are y'all seeing what I'm saying? It's like if the VO isn't timed perfectly, your SOT's going to roll into while you're reading, or there's going to be a really awkward pause, and there's too much VO, so export those separately. But other than that, I don't.
Yeah, and also make sure you mark it, okay? So if I'm doing it, hell, I'm just going to pick up one. Employee reaction. If I do it, I go A11-employee reaction-VO, then A11-employee reaction-SOT. So the person pulling it up will know which one's VO and which one's SOT. Make sure you label them properly.
But in NewsSource, I don't think you would ever air a VOSOT. You wouldn't just make that an anchor package?
Yeah, that was supposed to have been an anchor package, and apparently there was some confusion over what it was. But yeah, if you've got...
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Here. Well, that's it for me. So thank you guys.
I don't get to speak today, apparently.
I mean, you.
No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead.
I'll just say this and then be done. A VOSOT, you wouldn't do, because that's way too much for directors to punch, when you could just edit that VO, the SOT, VO, and the SOT all together and have the anchor go into the audio booth and track that stuff over top of it. Does that make sense? That's called an anchor pack, or like a mini pack. So all we have to do is roll one thing instead of rolling 4. Even in real life, we just had this conversation today, I think with Cantrell. She's like, in real life, a director wouldn't do a VOSOT.
And we had already said it, and I think I told the anchor at that point that's the way to have done it, but I think there was confusion between the director and the second producer.
Cool.
But yeah, anything like that, you want to get the exact timing. Also, just real quick on that kind of stuff, when we talk VOs and VOSOTs and everything, you guys got a little hang up about, well, you know, you said it's a VOSOT, can I do it without VO? Yeah, I don't give a crap, okay? The issue is always going to be the content. And I'm not worried if I say she puts it in as a 45-second VOSOT and you say, well, gee, I only have 30 seconds. These are just guidelines, okay, to help you. It's not.
What are you saying? That we don't have to have the voiceover?
If it's not good video, no. If it's if it's a good soundbite, yes. If it's a lousy soundbite and I got good video, then I'm going to say I'm going to do a VO. I'm going to do a VO of a full screen graphic. I'm going to do a VO of video. Most cases I want to see video, but it's not a hang up. And especially when a couple of times we're doing a VOSOT and the VO is you interviewing the person. That's not video. I don't need to see that crap. Okay? If it's video of a car moving, a truck, a bus, yeah, that's video, but not a 2-shot. That's not a VOSOT.
All right, I'm Natalie Rowe, and I'm senior producer, and aside from what they all...
Oh, sorry, I had one more thing.
Aside from what they said about formatting and everything, I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people still don't know the difference between a VOSOT or just like a VO and a SOT because you guys were putting stuff in and like it wasn't what it actually was. And also if you're gonna put, I don't know, nobody wants to watch a 30-second SOT, so like find the exact like part that like you want to say, like no one, like it loses everyone's attention. And then also what I was gonna say is deadlines, like they're not just there for fun, like we actually need the stuff when it's supposed to be there. So I know that like if you guys need help rather than just like stressing out, like I'm there to help, like we're all here to help, and like just ask for help. And also I feel like in the newsroom a lot today, or like when we were doing production, it was a lot of like self-deprecating, like talking about how badly like you were writing something. Instead of doing that, just ask for help. Like we're gonna help you, we're gonna make it better. Like don't get so down on yourself, because if you don't go into it confidently, like you're not gonna report it confidently. So I think just like going into it with a better mindset, like we're all here to help each other. So
they just had a conversation in News Source today.
So yeah,
Well, you know, it's mandatory that somebody from the team, talking deadlines, is in that room at 2 o'clock, okay? When we do the reassignment of the 3-person teams, if for some reason all 3 have conflicting class, you need to switch out, let me know, and let's get you switched. There has to be somebody at that 2 o'clock meeting, preferably then also you've had all the communication with the senior producer. And I'm not sure this happened quite as much. I think we got some of it, and I think you did some getting that going, but that has to be about 3 times as much. Deadlines are critical. So after we have the 2 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, we're gonna have the full, at 4 o'clock, the producer will have a rundown complete with slugs. Between those times, you can write things in scripts, and once the slug's in there, you can convert over, okay? The big deadlines then become at 5:45, okay? I have to have all scripts dropped. Every script has to be in the rundown so that when the director comes in at 6, we have a complete rundown with all scripts. Everything has to be dropped video-wise by 6:45. That way we got time to make a change. And quite frankly, Dylan was doing some other things. And otherwise we would have checked that video. Yeah, go ahead, grab the mic again, I'll hit you with it. But that becomes us making it early and making it, you know, done, okay? So those are mandatory deadlines. You've got to meet that if you're gonna get the show done. What else, producer, from yours? And yes, the soundbite of 30 seconds, quite frankly, we had 2 30-second sound bites, and literally nobody heard the second half of the soundbite. Because
and just
it was
go back and watch your package before you drop it, because like a lot of like besides the sound balancing and stuff like that, like I don't know, I felt like you would just drop something and you didn't even necessarily like look over it. So just, I mean, we would avoid a lot of things. I know we all know how to adjust gain. I know we all know how to adjust levels. Like that's something so easy, but if you mess that up, it ruins the entire package because no one wants to listen to it. So just like little things like that, I think would make a huge difference, and then it makes everything run a lot smoother. I think it ran pretty smoothly for all the problems that we had today. The fact that we even like made somewhat decent time. We were only 25 seconds over, I think. which is like whatever. But I think we worked with what we had. So I think just doing background research too. I know when we had our first meeting at 2:00, like people knew what they were doing for their stories, but they didn't necessarily have all the information and didn't know like the concrete things. So like that's hard as a producer too, when I'm trying to sit here and make your slugs and like get everything out. It's hard for like us to like, and then you guys come back 2 hours later and it's changed. So I think the whole communication thing just needs to be better.
And focus. You know, I've said the rule is a package, a VOSOT, a VO, and a reader, okay? What I'm really saying is I want 4 angles. The package is always going to be the most important story, and the reporter was responsible for that. The anchors are primarily responsible for all the VOSOTs and readers, okay? But it is a tag team, and you will help each other in terms of shooting and getting the stuff done, but that's it.
When are you, it's not in that kind of question, but okay. When are you looking to have the schedule, like the assignments?
Hopefully tomorrow, because I will get something out, okay? What I found was there was a couple of you in a simple rotation, which is the easiest thing for me to do. A couple of you missed on a couple of things. That's why I've changed it around once, and I'm going to change it around again a little bit, because I want to make sure. And when I send out the next one, quite frankly, because I'm doing both Tuesdays and Thursdays all over again, hopefully that'll get you some more rotation. If for some reason you find out you're a segment producer for the entire rest of the 6 newscasts you got coming, it'll let me know and I'll change it. And part of it also is if you look at it, and if you guys want to do some swapping around to some extent, I want you to do that. But if you haven't, I want to make sure, A, that everybody gets at least 1 shot at every position. Preferably 2, okay? And then after that, we've got 7 weeks total. So you should be able to get at least 2 shots at each, 1 shot at each position, okay? And that's what I'm trying to try and do. Let's do this one last thing and then we'll call it quits, which is the segment producer for each segment. I want comments from the segment producer. So, producer for restaurant. Pass the mic.
Yeah, come stand up next to Catherine.
Oh, yeah, that's easier. It's a scary thought, but.
Hi, I'm Fernanda Perez, and I was producer for restaurants. And I think like the main thing we ran into was the SOBA or the SAW and VO. Like we had 2, and like we didn't even know what to do. Like first they told us to run the like separate, and then they told us to put it together and then separate again. So I guess that was like a big issue.
The only person you talk to on those things, don't listen to anybody else but me.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, that's damn simple, okay? I'm the executive producer. I'm the one in charge of every damn thing, and I'll tell you the right way to do it. You have a right, though, again, if it questions, you sit there and say, oh, I'm not sure I understand why you're saying this, Castagaro. You have the right to challenge me, and not just the right, the obligation. Say, okay, make sure I understand this. Because I outlined that one and said, hell yeah, I'm going to do it as an anchor package, and then it should have been that way.
Yeah, no, she did that first.
And that's the way it should have been. And that's the way, yeah, nobody else countermands me. Okay, let's be real blunt about it. Unless you come to me, somebody says, here's why I've changed. No, nobody countermands the executive producer, no matter what, unless you've notified the executive producer and that EP, whether it's me or Cantrell or Hazinski or Bentley or whatever, okay?
And also like a little difficulty with the package, but like I think we ran pretty smoothly today. I liked what.
Can I say something about our thing?
Yeah.
Sorry. So this is my fault and I take responsibility for it, but I completely misinterpreted the timeliness of our story. Remember how we learned like, is it relevant or whatever? And the health scores are released monthly. So this month's were totally different restaurants that were kind of reviewed last month. And so I kind of just looked at it as in I'm just going to do local downtown restaurants and, pick out what I want to talk about or whatever. And I, shot everything to that and didn't think about the fact that like, we're talking about what's going on this month with our health scores. So I think that's like, I take responsibility for that on behalf of our team. But we pulled it together, but I just, when doing our stories, that's just something we always have to think about is like, what are we really like, what is really newsworthy out of our story, and are we really just like talking about something that's old, or are we, you know, making it relevant? So I kind of screwed up there, but I'm kind of glad I did, because that's like a big thing to get, like, you know.
Yeah, we learned quite a lot today, so I think we went really smoothly. So no complaints.
I would say really smoothly, but we got it.
We got it.
Smooth
We
is
lived.
a relative term.
So
All right, B block, females.
We have like 5 minutes, just sum it up.
Okay, so to sum up our blog, let's just say, that the legal part of it is extremely difficult. We had all our people lined up to say, hey, okay, we'll talk about it. And then I know yesterday I ran into the problems with the police department, and then all of a sudden they didn't want to talk to us. So I think as soon as, especially when you're doing legal cases, as soon as your sources say, I'm not talking on camera, we should have dropped the story, because it was so
Well, you
hard
actually
to
had a
do.
lot of information. We needed to get all 4 of us together and talk it through, because I could have made a package of OSOT and everything out of that, but not the way we had it constructed.
Yeah, the idea was there, and I think it would have went really well. It was just the execution was not there today. But I think it would have been, it could have been a very good story.
All right.
C-Block.
Yeah. Trees on Millage.
How we doing today? I'm Jerron Matthews.
What's that
And
first name?
I'm Jerron Matthews, and I was the producer for Trees and Jerron. Thank you, buddy. And so I'm really proud of our team for making a story about trees. A lot of people don't know anything about trees, but we found out some great information on Millage. There was a little problem with, you know, our package and having the script in our hands. But other than that, I'm not going to say it ran really smoothly, but I am very proud of my team. We worked as a team. We divided and conquered. And you have a question?
I just got a comment. Yeah, there was one point. I'm just sharing a little anecdote. There was one time, right before we reported at the fair, me and John were like, "Yo, do we really want to do a package about trees?" And we almost scrapped it. And then we got the next dude we interviewed told us about the whole grant thing. So I mean, if you ever feel like you're doing a story and you're like, "Yo, why are we doing this?" Just give like one more interview and you might get something. That's what
Yeah, I mean, part of it is you just talk it through. You know, one of the things is avoid the word, you know, I'm suggesting in all seriousness, avoid the word interview. When I interview somebody, I don't interview someone, I have a conversation with them. I say, explain this trees to me and explain what's going on, and, you know, why do you give a rat's tail about it, and, you know, and walk me through it. And those conversations are where you'll generate, A, good sound, and B, generate other ideas and things. And that's what ended up happening with you, I think, you guys. Cool.
B-Block. Hurry.
Yeah, I know. God, we did the full half hour, didn't we?
Hey, I'm Valentina Urego. I was producer for Gotcha Rides. I guess my only thing to say is I'm proud of my team. I think we did a good job for what we a good enough job for learning what we're learning now. And we learned a lot with it. I just want to tell all of you guys, I don't think we're all clear on what the anchor's role is and what the reporter's role is. And my reporter was doing a lot of my anchor's work, and that was hard. And so I was out there filming things with my reporter for all of us, for us to have something for a whole block. And so that gets difficult. I don't get my things done on time. My reporter doesn't get her done on time because she's out all day doing things. And it's fine. It's not fine, but that's again the teamwork of it, and knowing what your role is, and knowing what you need to do, and just getting it done.
And start early.
So
Yeah.
Can I ask a question then? That's not necessary. So the reporter.
You do need to take a mic.
Yes, you do need to take. This is recorded.
I didn't know it was a for real thing. Well, can I
Just
say?
say.
I'll just wait.
Okay.
So my mixtape.
All right. Here's the deal. I will get something out tomorrow, okay? That's Wednesday. Then you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to get to work on this stuff and work it out, okay? And let's get it done. And again, let me emphasize, yes, I'll go ballistic on you, but it is, to some extent, a role playing. It is, hey, this is what will happen if you face a really pissed off news director in some market, or really pissed off online producer or whatever. They're going to come after you, but after it's over, it's over. I just want to see you all better at what you're doing. That's the whole purpose of this. Cool. Thank you and good night.